Hey everybody, welcome to Movie Talks with Michael, the movie talk show where I, Michael, discuss a movie picked by my guest. Today my guest is Arin of Egoraptor, Game Grumps and Starbomb, Notoriety.
Oh, stop it.
I will never stop. Now, you picked what movie?
Speed Racer.
Speed Racer. I'm quite the fan of Speed Racer.
Are you?
As I understand that you are as well.
Wait, okay. So I picked this movie because it is an unpopular opinion to like this movie.
I remember when this movie came out, everyone was like, "Oh, don't see it! Like, don't see it. It's not good."
Well, it was also the weekend that Iron Man came out.
Yeah,
So.
Iron Man came out, and then it came out, and the week after that, Chronicles of Narnia: Prince Caspian came out, which was like going after the same sort of like it's rated G or PG, so like same kind of audience, and then the week after that was Indiana Jones and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So like it was in a rough like
That's interesting.
slot. Like I think it actually would have done better had it not been up against like such heavy hitters. Maybe.
You think so?
I think so. Like if it had come out in January or February, I think it would have done a lot better.
I found that the main complaint from critics was that they didn't know like what demographic it was for. Because it had like these kind of adult things going on, and then it had like the Spritle situation going on, which was very like bonk.
So I mean, just to give a general run through plot right quick, I suppose we should just do that, and then we can dive into all the things we love and dislike.
Oh, okay.
If there are anything.
Speed Racers is a good. Well, there's a lot of shit. I'm like
it's actually a strangely complicated movie for. I mean, it's based off of the 60s cartoon or anime, which I hadn't watched until when you were like, I want to do Speed Racer. I was like, I should watch like some of them.
No.
Why? I watched it, and it's one of those things where like, oh, this is where like the bad anime dub like comes from, because like the opening thing is like, this is the Mach 5. It is one of the fastest cars in the world. And I'm like, wow, this is where it all comes
from. That is where it comes from.
But yeah, Speed Racer, for being based on a cartoon, is like mom and pop like racer company up against like evil corporate.
Yeah.
Like that's
a good way to boil it down.
What made this like, I guess, a favorite for you? Because this is your favorite movie, or
it's my favorite movie.
Okay.
It replaced The Breakfast Club, which was a long-standing favorite for like Incredibles when it came out. It was like butting heads with Breakfast Club, but I was like, I think I can still watch Breakfast Club a million times. And Incredibles kind of gets stale after a while.
Yeah.
But then Speed Racer came out, and I was like, all right, this is it. And I saw it I think I saw it like 4 or 5 times in theaters.
Wow.
Like IMAX. And then like regular, and then like I was taking people to see it who were like non-believers, because that was the thing, is like it was met with immediate hostility when it came out. It was like, what is this? Like, the visuals are weird, and it's an anime remake or something. It was like when remakes were starting to like become a thing that were bad.
But it's like one of the, in my mind anyway, like one of the truest like, oh, this is clearly based on an anime, like a cartoon, and they like translated it very well.
Well, yes, I feel that's true, but I feel it's more like it's clear that they're really, really big fans of Speed, or at least they like grew up on it, and it like means a lot to them.
They understand the world. They want to like make you see everything in that world.
It feels more like it's less, what if Speed Racer was this movie, but like, and instead it was just like, what if Speed Racer was a movie?
Yeah,
like,
no, it's playing very earnest to its source material, it's honoring it, and it's just like seeing like, how can that translate into this? Like the races
are amazing.
The visuals on the races are some of the most like impressive, and they're always doing different things in the races too, which is very cool. Like in the in like the lead-in race where it's him kind of chasing the ghost of his brother.
Oh God!
Like
so sad.
It's also amazing because they really
like immediately cried.
The heart is packed into this movie. Like it's a little schmaltzy, but like it works.
Totally. Yeah.
It like they understand what it is. Everybody's on the same page. But yeah, when he's first like chasing the ghost of his brother, and like I also love, I don't know if you're familiar with the actor, but the guy who plays Rex Racer was Jason Street in Friday Night Lights. I don't know. I found that interesting that he's like kind of in the sportsy realm.
I was kind of wondering who he was because I didn't really. His acting was kind of like.
I'm like
in Speed Racer, he's like, that's my life to live. It's my life to live, John Goodman. I mean, Dad.
Pops.
Get out of here, Pops. Sorry.
Yeah.
What was my line?
I love John Goodman so much. Like John Goodman
he was
plays
great.
cartoon really well. Like I mean, I wouldn't say that like the Flintstones movie is like the greatest thing, but he's like he's great in it.
Totally. And also like it gets really like heartfelt like when they're talking about like remember that night where we were watching the Grand Prix and it's like, oh man, this is so like you're not just a cartoon character, you're Pops. Like,
but yeah, all the we're going in so many directions because this movie has so much going on in it.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know what really impressed me is like there's so much like you get the impression like when you watch it and you watch the races like there's so much like with lights and like oh my god, things are swirling, but like you understand perfectly like who's where, what's going on, like who's ahead of who, and like like they just did this really specific thing to this person and this is the consequence.
Yeah, spatially you understand where everyone is despite the fact that we are moving so fast. There's I forget the name of the race in the middle that they have to do where it's the three of them on a team basically, and it's
Casa Cristo.
Yeah, Casa Cristo, and it's Racer X, Trixie, and Speed, and it's just doing this fun like between them all, and we're like, oh, I know exactly where you are.
Yeah. And they were drifting up the mountain.
There's also one really great thing I love about that race is halfway through when they stop and they all just get out and there's like change of plans, and they're like, no, second change of plans, and they have the fight scene. That is like, because that was 2 years before Scott Pilgrim, but it has those exact very cartoonish, the swishes following the arms and the punches and like the like explosions, and in rewatching it, I was like, oh man, they did this like way before in terms of just like,
it was amazing.
And I can't think of a film that might like predate that. Like initially I thought it was Scott Pilgrim and I'd seen it in like a few other things, but now I'm like, the Wachowskis, they did it. They beat Edgar Wright to this one.
I like that like, normally it kind of bugs me when they try to come up with an excuse for some kind of trope or like whatever. Like in superhero movies, they're doing it all the time. They're like, oh, the reason Catwoman has cat ears is because it's her goggles. It's like, come on. But like, when it was like the snow and then the snow became the speed lines, it was like, yeah, because like speed lines wouldn't work and there were speed lines when like Racer X was driving and like all the stuff was like zipping by him really fast. And it was like, yeah, speed lines.
Yeah, they found very organic ways to introduce like just the sense of speed and like nod to the source material at the same time. I also love just entering those ice caves and they suddenly were like, oh, let's add like light trails on everything.
Yeah.
Like, they kept upping the ante and changing the way that it was feeling. Like again, that particular race when they're in the desert, like the way that the hills are like popping up when they're like rolling over them.
Oh yeah.
It's just like different visual tricks with like each sequence made like the whole thing stay so fresh and never like it just never slows down.
Yeah. Oh, and Fuji and the Grand Prix where they're like in the checkerboard.
Oh, they played the Fuji race is also really cool because it's what's his name? Royalton. Telling Speedy's like, here's what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And he does the whole thing and explains it, and then suddenly you're like back in the office, you're like, wait, did that happen? And then you're like...
And then it like cuts to him like sad from Fuji, and it's like, oh man, it did happen!
Yeah.
Ah!
Which is so, like, because it tricks you to think like, oh no, he's going to find a way to overcome the odds. It's like, nope. And then right on top of that, he then learns that the guy actually like was playing the game
Burns,
the whole time.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh...
So sad. Oh, Speed, you can do it, Speed. You can beat the man.
It does it really well of doing some clever things in terms of the way they're flashing back to things, flashing forward to things. They're using those heads all the time.
Oh yeah, the wipes.
The transitory wipes.
Those are pretty friggin' cool. Did you? How did you? How do you feel about the inclusion of Spritle?
I'm not the biggest fan of Spritle. Like, it is definitely he's the moments that I'm like, I understand like why you might be here and like because you're in it, but like especially at the very end when it's him and Trixie, he's won, right about to go in for the kiss, and you just want that, and then it's like, warning, and it's just like, no, just give that to me. Don't like cut the brakes like so hard. Like it's
That's
cool.
true.
It's cool that you got the chimp wearing like a lab coat, but like just what?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because like the hijinks were like, haha, that's Speed
Yeah.
Racer-y, but like the only point that it really bugged me was when that like really intense scene where Royalton's like laying it all out for Speed.
Yeah.
And he's just like, you're gonna lose, you'll make more money on your life, and then it just like cuts and Sprittle's like, woo! I'm in the factory! And then like immediately like smash cuts into Royalton like,
Yeah, it's a very weird juxtaposition of those scenes. Also, like, I mean, just Royalton in general is like such a fun character.
oh yeah.
Like he's such a wonderful like two-faced villain, and the snap on him is so great.
Oh yeah. Dude, when he gets like upset, you're like, oh man.
Apparently he played Javert in the productions of Les Mis, so that like totally works for me.
Oh, wow.
Of just like the intense like I am the law. But yeah, I also there are just those weird like wonderful details. Like I love that Speed Racer's contract is 4 separate documents.
Yeah,
they're
like stacks.
They're 4 stacks. That's just this is corporate.
Oh no, that was great too. That whole scene is beautiful because like and it's so simple. Like whenever they show Speed, he's got like the mangled engine behind him.
Yeah.
But whenever they show Royalton, he's got like stocks and like the world and stuff
Yeah.
behind him. And it's like, it's so obvious, but it's so good. This is one point in the movie that really like because we were talking about it earlier, like the whole Speed Racer trope of like,
Yeah.
like he does it in the movie, but it's
Yeah.
like so subtle, and it's like it's when I think Snake Oiler pulls out the gun because he's all frustrated during Kaze Christo. He's like, whatever, and he's like, bang bang, and it like starts hitting the wall or whatever, and Speed's like, and it's like, yes, he said it.
They just
Awesome.
they had to pay they like had to pay off everything, and they did. They've got the moment where like he jumps out of the car at the very end and
Oh,
hits
yeah.
the stance.
That-
like
oh, my God,
they do the
so
Speed Racer
awesome.
like with the checker. Like they're hitting like were you like a fan of Speed? I don't know. Were you a fan of Speed Racer growing up, or you just
No, not really.
'Cause
I just because what really got me excited about the film when I first like saw the trailer and like heard about it was that it was like it felt like the spirit was there because I think that had been after like Batman Begins and like I saw that and I was like, oh, that was pretty good, but like it didn't feel like there was the spirit of Batman in it. Like
Yeah.
it was very like, this is my Batman, So like when Speed Racer came out, it was like, oh, dude, this is Speed Racer. Like that's what this is. Like it's campy, it's like over the top, it's cartoony. Like that's
Yeah.
what Speed Racer is. And they like put it all in, and it made sense. And I got super stoked for it. And then I saw it, and I was like, that's exactly what I thought it would be. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's so weird that it is like the Wachowskis got as panned as they did when it came out. Like despite launch window and everything, but it really did hit like because I feel like so many people that I talked to like after it came out on DVD were just like, oh, you have to see this. It's
Really?
amazing. Yeah.
That's interesting.
I feel like it's one of those films that is like definitely like a cult favorite for many a circle.
Wow. I haven't really experienced it. Like I'll come out and I'll say it in public. That's the thing is like when I come out and say it and I'm like, Speed Racer is my favorite movie. Like if I'm at like a panel or something at a con or like a big group of people, like I get like laughter. Like people think I'm like sarcastic. When they're like, what's your favorite movie? Speed Racer. And they're like, ha 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 ha. And I'm like, I'm serious. And then there's like that kind of like, ha ha ha. Like they still think I'm joking. But I'm not joking. And it's like, you guys haven't even seen the movie
Right,
yet.
if they haven't seen them, like if you've seen it, you understand and then can have an opinion on it. Once they see it, then they can be like, okay, this wasn't for me, this was for me, I get it, I don't, or what have you. But yeah, it's
like 100% polarizing. People, I find more than anything, it's like the one movie that people are just like, how can you like Speed Racer when they don't even know anything about it?
Yeah.
Like they just assume that it was this horrible movie. But it's awesome.
I would definitely encourage everybody to see it so they can choose which side of the fence they're on this one, because I do really enjoy this film. It just there's like the inner child that like really does get amped because you're like, yeah, we got to go fast, like, and it's just nuts, and you do feel yourself like with all the colors, all the clever stuff they're doing, all the gadgetry, like.
As a bonus, I think everyone should see Ninja Assassin, which came out quite soon after Speed Racer. Was produced by the Wachowskis, not directed, but it has the same kind of like campy feel of like oh, this is like a Japanese kung fu movie, Japanese kung fu. But like Rain is the main character, and he's just like this kind of like, and there's all this like crazy blood, and it's great. It's fun.
I'll definitely have to check that out.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No, I have not seen
Oh,
it.
man,
This
you should
is
see it.
completely like I've not even heard of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Ninja
So
Assassin is so good.
just from the title, I'm like already.
Yeah,
like,
because you hear the title and you're like, it's that kind of title where it's like it feels like a straight to DVD kind of thing, but
But
like at the same time, it's like Ninja Assassin.
It's making you an exact promise. Like with Speed Racer, you know exactly what you're getting. You are getting fast, and you are getting a race. Like with this, you will get ninjas and assassins. I'm assuming.
Oh, very many.
On that note, I just would like to thank you for
man.
coming onto this wonderful movie talk. I hope you enjoyed the Twizzlers.
Oh, I did. I enjoyed the company as well.
That's wonderful.
You're a nice guy, Michael.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Arin. And with that, there are probably links floating about that you can click on to see more from Arin, maybe even more from me if you feel so inclined. We want you to see Speed Racer and leave your comments on that in them comments below.
Yeah, only if you've seen it though.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear your, ew, it just gets a movie. So transcribe that. That's the comment.
Do it up, transcribe the comment, leave all those thoughts. Thanks so much. Keep loving movies, guys. Oh, we're going this way?
No,
Back
I'm
to
staying
front.
here. That was just kind of like a.
I got you.
You know what I never noticed until now?
What?
You kind of have like a Bob Saget about you.
What?
Yeah.